Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren, and I am the author of the story you're about to listen to. You know, it's been so long since I've done an intro that I forgot how to do it, and that says something really not good. Um, so because I'm mostly off grid still, I don't have the power to do a full long video or long story. So the next few weeks is going to be one story that's broken up into parts. I've been diligently working on more news stories, and my editing pile is growing really big. I think I have like 5 stories that need editing now, so that's going to be super exciting to get through. So I know I'm quiet, but I'm definitely working on new videos for you guys. So, I mean, yay, I guess. Anyway, this week's story was originally called Star-Crossed. Its new name is The Hitman's Apprentice. This one is a bit of a dark urban romance with an assassin and his tag-along apprentice. I wrote this one in 2018, I believe, and I was super proud of it. I hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, that's what I got for you guys. So, yeah.
Star-Crossed by L. Lauren. Copyright 2018 L. Lauren. Part 1. Prepare. Please don't kill me. The boy clasped his hands together and gazed into Ajax's face. His eyes were dewy sprigs of fresh grass glittering in the sunrise. Ajax unlatched the safety on his pistol, pointing it between the boy's tailored eyebrows before the bridge of his nose. The boy sank to his knees on the blood-soaked Persian rug, covering the living room floor. Tears welled in his eyes and slid down his tan cheeks, and salty water droplets fell from his sharp chin. They disappeared in the mottled wool foundation and the shining silk pile weave. Ajax had wasted 2 bullets on a man he'd never met before. The third hit his target in the side of the head. It created a spidering hole in the living room window, to the left of the wall-mounted flat-screen television. The television was bigger than any television Ajax had seen. A squat man in his late 50s with sparse blonde hair plastered over a shining bald head had fallen face forward. He had knocked the coffee table on his trip to the floor. His evening whiskey spilled from limp fingers. His instructions required the boy's disposal too, but Ajax hesitated. His hand clenched at his side as the boy shivered, and locks of rich auburn hair swept over his eyes, shielding distraught features. His defeated shoulders sagged, and he studied the ground. Ajax latched the safety with a soft click. The boy shuddered. "What's your name?" Ajax rasped. His vocal cords were raw, and his voice was coarse. "Lawrence," he squeaked. "What's your middle name?" "Orion." "You see can have anything you want." "Obviously." Ajax tucked his gun away and stepped back, steel-toed boots hitting the hardwood floor with a heavy thunk. He moved around the couch, glass crunching under his feet, and approached a half-eaten tray of food resting on the side table. He pressed the backs of his fingers into the round dinner roll and tasted a chunk of coagulated casserole. It was chicken, rice, and melted cheddar cheese. What are you doing?" Orion sat back on his ass, rubbing the length of his bare and blood-soaked legs. "You made this?" "Why, yes. Hours ago. Someone wants you dead. And they're willing to pay 200 grand for it. Tell me what makes you worth more than 200 grand. I can give you $50,000, and I can help you. With things. You can help me. You ever shot a gun before?" "Yes." His features brightened and then dimmed. "No." Ajax sucked the inside of his cheek, prowling back around the couch. Welts painted the boy's creamy thighs, and yellow bruises blotted his legs and arms. Hunger consumed his eyes. "If you want to come with me, we leave in 5 minutes. You ransack the house, take any money lying around. Leave your clothes and anything traceable." I don't have $50,000 here." "Well, intelligent criminals don't steal credit cards." 4 minutes. "Get me a plate of casserole and an extra biscuit." Ajax squinted again, tugging his skullcap over his ears and pulling gloves from his pocket. He slipped his fingers in them as he crossed the room and exited the front door. Mr. Nikolai Ivanov Rostislav owned 3 houses, one in the city, one back in Russia, and one in the secluded countryside where his body lay decomposing. The countryside home faced a translucent lake and a mountainous backdrop. It towered over a smaller guest house. The two-floor guest house paid for the countryside dwelling. Ajax occupied the guest house. He lit a cigarette as he stepped out of his boots and peeled woolen socks from his toes, stuffing them in the shallow pockets of his jeans. He stepped into the moist grass barefoot. Ajax pulled from his cigarette, heat traveling through the stick and warming his lips. I'm ready," Orion stammered. He joined Ajax outside after trashing the house, backpack over his frail shoulders and a covered plate of food in his hands. Ajax peeked in the backpack, thumbing through folded underwear, green stacks of dollar bills and toiletries with a grunt. He zipped the bag. "Take off your shoes." Orion obeyed, placing them next to Ajax's sagging boots. "All right. My car is this way." He was a ghost. His footfalls made hushed sounds as he followed a stone pathway around the house. Ajax unlocked the doors to an aged white sedan with chipping paint and missing rims, sitting in front of the guest house. "Toss your bag on the seat and get in." "Okay. What about your food?" "I'll eat once we get on the road." He unloaded his guns into the trunk, nestling them in their cushion and slamming the door down, twisting the key to the right. Without another word, he climbed into the driver's side, turned over the engine, and drove away from the mountain estate. He drove in silence, with Orion clutching the plate of warm food on his lap. Ajax kicked the vehicle into the next gear once they left the mountains and merged onto less winding roads. "Pass me the bread." Orion's fingers spurred into action, peeling the aluminum foil back from the plate and fishing out the roll, presenting it to the other man. Ajax snatched it from him, taking a hefty bite. "You can talk, you know." "There is nothing to say." He replaced the foil around the lip of the plate. It crinkled under his delicate fingers. "Fine. I'll talk. Do you know what I am?" "Why, yes. A person for hire. You were sent by my father, weren't you?" "I thought you had nothing to say." Ajax's lips twitched. He almost smiled. "I was." "Why?" Ajax chewed the cold biscuit. The chicken casserole tainted its flavor. "Why isn't my concern? Usually my target knows the why more than I do. So I should ask you. Why does your father want you dead?" Orion's shoulders shrugged, "Because he never wanted me alive." "Interesting. Where are we going?" "Away." "Why?" "Because it's the job." "I guess." Orion picked at the wrinkled foil, frowning into his lap. They drove through 2 small towns and 1 large city. The freeway weaved around, and Ajax took exits and changed streets with confidence, signaling each time he rolled to a stop. Hours after they had set out, the old sedan pulled into the Cowboy Inn, a hotel off the interstate. The vowels on the sign blinked in and out, and there were 2 beat-up vehicles in the parking lot. The smell of gasoline and stale sewage water filled the air vents. Ajax closed them. "Wait here, I'll get us a room." He lifted the center console, digging through a collection of identification cards. He peeled off his black skullcap, revealing a mass of matted dark curls on his head, and stuffed his feet in a new pair of steel-toed utility boots he dug out of the back seat. "Wait. What's your name?" "My name is if you move out of this car, I'll kill you." Ajax's eyes fixed on Orion, black against the faint glow from the moon. He tucked an identification card and a credit card in his pocket as he climbed out of the vehicle, slamming the door behind him and leaving the keys in the ignition. Ajax checked in, presenting his identification card to the young worker behind the desk. She glanced at the card and back up at the man's surly features before nodding and tapping on her computer. "Mr. Johnson, we have your room right here." Her acrylic nails pecked the keys. "How many nights are you staying?" "1. "How many room keys do you need, sir?" "1. "All right. Just sign this form for me as I process your payment, and you're good to go." She exchanged his identification card with his credit card as he scribbled a signature on the form and placed the ink pen on top of the crisp white paper. After 2 swipes, the computer bleeped, and she puckered her lips and placed a hand on her waist. She swiped the card a 3rd time, and the computer bleeped again. Oh shucks. Our internet is down again, so I'm going to have to pull out the knuckle buster. Be right back. No problem. Ajax slipped his hands into the pockets of his dark blue jeans. The girl slipped from the lobby to the office, retrieving rectangular contraption with a raised handle and similar rectangular paper. She clunked it on the counter and poked her tongue out the side of her mouth as she lined up a 3-page booklet with his credit card, placing the credit card under the booklet. I've only done this once before, she warned before she pushed a sliding handle over the booklet and his credit card. She held her breath as she held up the manual print of Ajax's card, flipping to each page before exhaling in relief. The print was on each page. Okay. Here ya go. This'll be processed tomorrow morning, then you can check your card statement and it should pop up. Sorry for the inconvenience. She returned his credit card and passed him one key card. Thank you. Is there anything else I can get you? Yes, one question. Vending machines? Oh sure. Your room is 213. When you walk out into the hallway, if you come back towards here, the lobby, you'll see 2 vending machines and an ice dispensary. There is a washer and dryer on the 1st floor if you need it. Ah, perfect. His lips twitched in a smile as he left the quiet lobby and returned to his idling vehicle, climbing back in the driver's seat. What took so long? Orion ventured, glancing towards Ajax. Internet is down, so she had to use a manual credit. Ajax tilted his head. I don't owe you answers. It was a simple question. See previous statement. Ajax parked the vehicle right in front of their room, grabbing a black backpack and Orion's bag. He tossed Orion a pair of worn sneakers. We're room 213. He handed the boy the key card. Okay. Should we get anything else out? Not for tonight. We'll sleep a few hours and get back on the road in the morning. Ajax led the boy up the winding staircase to the room and dumped their bags at the door. He dug through his suitcase and laid out a new pair of black clothes, draping a pair of slim black jeans and a slim black shirt over the bed. He kicked off his boots, yanking his shirt over his head. Orion gasped, I should do something. Oh my God. He scrambled over to his own bag. All right. Take the clothes you're wearing off and put them in this pile. Ajax dropped his shirt on the ground, bulging muscles rippling as they relaxed under his dark skin. Old scars stretched as he unfastened his jeans, adding them to the pile. Are right here. Did you have a better place? Perhaps in the restroom? There's nothing you have I ain't seen before, and I'm not interested. So we're good here. Ajax put his underwear and socks on the top of the pile and walked barefoot across the carpeted floor, squatting in front of his bag again. Oh. Ajax pulled brown and labeled bottles out of his bag, smelling them before setting them on the carpet. You're not moving. I know. Get undressed. What am I going to wear otherwise? I have an extra shirt and drawers. The drawers? Orion stretched his shirt, pulling his arms to his body and shimmying out of it. He dropped it on top of Ajax's clothes. He squirmed out of his shorts and briefs, clutching them close to his body. He traced the stitching and surrendered them too. Better. He placed the bottles on the table next to the keycard and placed another shirt and a pair of boxers next to his clothes on the bed. Ajax turned to Orion, opening his mouth to speak, and paused. He gulped air as he pressed his lips together and swallowed around the knot growing in his throat. Clothes? He jerked his thumb to the bed, but his eyes didn't leave the boy's form. Orion clasped his hands behind his back, puffing out his osseous chest. His legs curved out at his lean thighs and back together at his ankles. He bent one leg, bringing his knees together and arching one foot, toes digging into the carpet. I'd like to wash first. No. I have stained blood on me. Ajax's eyes narrowed. No. Then, I'm going to stay covered in blood? Ajax cursed under his breath and snatched a towel from the bathroom, wetting it with lukewarm water and thrusting it at Orion. Here. Wash. I need soap. No, the assassin hissed. Fine. He retrieved the small bar of hotel soap and offered it to Orion. Thank you. He unwrapped the soap, smearing it over the towel. Are you going to be this irritating all the time? No, I suppose not, but you could have shot me. I still could. Orion lathered his pink-tinted legs. You could, he agreed. Why didn't you? A moment of weakness. I noticed, but why? He lathered the rest of his body before sliding another wet corner over his bruised skin, washing away the soap. Because you weren't surprised. What do you mean? Scared, sure. Usually when I have to kill families, the partners run screaming through the house like crazy people. Not you. You were too ready to accept your fate. I guess. Orion patted his skin dry. I'm finished. Put the towel in the pile. Anything else fabric-wise you need to get rid of? I don't think so. All right. Ajax tucked the clothes in a black drawstring bag he recovered from his backpack. What are you going to do with our clothes? Destroy them. Why? Because I don't want to get caught, and something tells me you don't want to go back to where you came from either. What tells you? You're traveling with an assassin, he pulled the drawstring closed, and you're not scared of him. So what are you, like 15 years old? I'm 21. Ajax glanced over the boy's body again. You look 15. We call it shaving and good genes. All right. You were married to the guy the first killed? Yes. How old was he, like 50? I don't know how old he was. Orion picked at the clothes Ajax had set out, pulling the oversized black shirt over his head and sticking his legs into the bottoms. You into older men? Who says I'm into men at all? You were married to one. I wasn't attracted to him, and I'm not attracted to older men. Orion crawled into bed. He folded his arms across his chest and drew his legs close, resting his chin on his knees. All right. It was arranged. My father set it up. Like a business deal. Ha. Ajax dressed himself again, covering his scarred chest with a black t-shirt and sliding his muscled legs into his jeans. He shoved his feet in his boots. Well, get some rest. I'll be back in a few minutes. Ajax tucked the keycard in his pocket, grabbing the unlabeled bottles and the bag of clothes. He poured an expert mix of clear, pungent liquids on the clothes, pulled the drawstring tighter, and threw the bag into an open full-size dumpster before returning to the hotel room. Orion had burrowed into the sheets by the time he returned, leaving his wavy brown hair visible on the pillow. Pink toes poked out from under the heavy comforter. Ajax checked his watch and retrieved a primitive cell phone from his bag, flipping it open. He dialed a number and put it to his ear. Hello. I'm calling for Mr. Cromwell, Ajax groused. This is he. This is Mr. Black. How are you, Mr. Black? Very well. I need a location and date for the rest of the exchange. I will let you know. Ajax ended the call and dialed a second number, glancing at Orion as he did. Ah. Hello. Trav. I need an identity package. AJ? Yeah. What do you need from me? For starters, a picture, a fingerprint, and the cash. Same as before. Ajax paced the room, resting a hand on his hips. Same as before. How soon do you need it? I'll be in your area in a week, but I can send the information you need tomorrow. Perfect. It's good to hear your voice, AJ. Yours too. Take care, all right? Sure thing. The call ended, and Ajax returned the cell phone to his backpack, kicking his shoes off. He posted himself in the lumpy chair next to the rattling air conditioner, closing his eyes and resting his head on the back of the chair. He slept for 2 hours and jolted awake as morning light peeked through the thin curtains. Dull dark eyes traveled to the bed where Orion lay exposed. Orion's angelic features frowned in his sleep. His tanned legs opened against the sheets and his back arched, giving his body breathing room. The oversized boxers covering his bottom half had ridden up, showing his curved ass cheeks and welted skin. Faint stripes crisscrossed the backs of Orion's thighs. Ajax grumbled, "Kid, it's time to get up and get moving. We have a lot of miles to cover today." "Ah no," Orion whined, stretching his arms in the sheets. He tucked his face away. Ajax clenched his jaws. "Now. Get up now." He approached the bed, brushing the backs of his fingers along Orion's calf, sandpaper caressing flower petals. The boy didn't react at first, but when Ajax's chaste touch continued, he bolted upright and snaked away, gathering the blankets in his arms and covering himself. "I'm up," he gasped, head hitting the wall with a muffled thump. "My God. I'm up." Sweat washed over his forehead, and redness over his cheeks and down his neck. "Well, good." Ajax frowned. "Piss and pack up, we'll get food on the road." Orion rolled his eyes up to Ajax, white knuckles clutching the blankets. "I can't." "You can't pack up? What are you talking about?" "You packed it." Ajax paused and looked away from Orion, squinting at the faded hotel door. "Okay, well, just pack. And we'll go." "I need better bottoms," Orion whispered. "You need better bottoms. Look, I didn't prepare for a travel companion. You couldn't take your clothes, because it would have been too obvious, and it wouldn't have looked like an accident. I didn't stop yesterday because I have markers, plans, but now I have to change them because of you. I have double the liabilities, double the chances of getting caught now." Orion flinched. "I'm sorry?" "No, it's fine," Ajax growled. "It's fine. Can you wear those to the car, and then first thing, I'll get you something better?" Orion nodded, exhaled, and slithered from the bed to his backpack. He packed himself up again, sticking his feet in a pair of Ajax's worn shoes and throwing the bag over his shoulder. "Shoes too. You can make a list on the drive." Ajax packed methodologically, checking and double-checking his surroundings before he shouldered his bag and put on his steel-toed boots. After one last check, they vacated the room, leaving the keycard on the counter by the door. They tossed their bags in the back seat, and Ajax rolled out of the parking lot as the sun made its first appearance over the horizon. "Where are we going?" Orion kicked the oversized tennis shoes off and crossed his legs in the chair. "West." "Do you live west?" "No." "Then why are we going west?" "To get your father's money and to get your new identity, which reminds me. You need to dye your hair, and I need a fingerprint. Then I need to take a picture of you." "What color?" "I don't know." "Different." "I could bleach it." "Sure." Ajax turned into a striped orange and white burger joint and rolled his window down. His soft curly hair rippled in the wind as he leaned forward, ordering 2 number 1s with orange juice, a number 2 and an additional large coffee. "What did you get for me?" "One of the number 1s. And the rest is for you." Orion smirked. Ajax lifted his hips, grabbing his wallet. "Yeah." He handed smooth dollar bills to a pimply teenager at the first window after he confirmed his order. A round-faced, long-haired girl at the second window handed him 2 separate bags of food and a paper drink holder with 2 orange juices and a steaming hot coffee nestled inside. He passed the food along to Orion, who checked each bag. "Ask for jelly, butter, and syrup packets," Orion whispered. "I need jelly, butter, and syrup. And napkins." "And napkins," Ajax grunted. "Sure thing." The short-haired worker dumped his requested items in a small plastic bag. "Can I get you anything else?" Ajax looked at Orion after handing the plastic bag over. Orion checked this one too, and then shook his head. Ajax looked back to the smiling employee. "No. We're good, thanks." He pulled away from the drive-through window and into a parking space. "We're going to eat here?" Orion retrieved a hash brown from the boxes. "Oh shoot. I should have asked for ketchup." Ajax presented the coffee to his lips, taking one slow sip before grumbling, "Deal with it." "I am. I was just saying for next time, don't let me forget the ketchup." Aha! Ajax sipped his coffee again. They ate their first meal together, in an awkward silence. Orion sliced his soggy pancake into triangles with the plastic knife and dipped them in the little square container of syrup, while Ajax slathered butter and syrup on his stack of pancakes and ate them unceremoniously. I'm finished. Do you want the rest of my eggs and my third pancake? Orion looked at Ajax, who was still steadily working through his pile of food. Yeah, I'll take it. Set it there. He motioned to the dashboard and went back to eating. Orion sipped his cup of orange juice, staring out the window with a sigh. He smiled to every person passing their vehicle, waving his fingers at happy little children and nodding to adults. When they were alone, his features fell into a neutral expression. His eyes focused on the thick trunk of an old oak tree. What are you thinking about? Ajax packed the trash in one bag as he continued eating from the other. Nothing. Well, my youngest sister's birthday is today. And? She's 15. We usually have a big family dinner on birthdays. Orion swiped the condensation off the side of his cup, squinting as moisture sprang to his eyes. His chin trembled. Well, you're dead now, so you can't waltz into your parents' house and sit down at the table. I know, but I'm still allowed to be sad. Sure. Doesn't help anything, though. They're my family, and I miss them. I'm the youngest boy and she's the youngest girl. We always had a connection in being the youngest. What? You were the most spoiled? No, we were the most disposable. How many siblings do you have? 3 older brothers, 3 older sisters, 1 younger. Orion chewed his straw. Damn. Your mom and dad enjoy having sex with each other? No. It's complicated. Is it? We've got plenty time, baby. Ajax's raspy voice shifted to a deep southern drawl. Baby? Ajax flushed, chewing and swallowing a bit of eggs. I knew a guy who used to say that. I see. Tell me. He didn't want her using birth control, and he refused to use protection. So 8 children. The 2 oldest boys are going to take over the family business. What about the girls? If they're lucky, he'll marry them off to other rich men. So he can send a bounty hunter after them too. Orion lowered his head. Sorry. Ajax finished eating, compacting all of the trash. We'll stop at one of those big service stations, and I'll get you something to wear. Then we can go to a convenience store, and you can pick out a few things. He wouldn't marry them off like he did me. He sees value in women, or at least a way to spread his claim. He didn't like me. He surely didn't, Ajax agreed. When they arrived at the service station, Ajax hopped out of his vehicle with the trash from breakfast, tossing it as he moved inside. He purchased a small pair of sweatpants, a small shirt, and a cheap pair of shoes, guessing Orion's size. Alongside the clothes, he tossed several colorful packs of candy on the counter and swayed back and forth on his feet as the cashier rang his items. You want a bag for these? The older woman asked. Sure. He exchanged cash for his purchases and left with 2 plastic bags. One bag held Orion's clothes, and the other was filled with their sugary road snacks. Orion wiggled into the new clothes as Ajax buckled his seatbelt and drove out of the service station parking lot. He traded Ajax's boxers for the sweatpants and his huge shirt for the smaller one. These shoes are too big. Wear them anyway. I was going to, but my shoe size is a 9. Ajax grunted his reply. He drove for hours listening to the roar of wind passing the vehicle. He didn't play music or listen to a book, and Orion soon fell asleep using Ajax's bundled clothes for a pillow. The boy rested his head on the body of the car and curled up, bony feet resting on the dashboard and knobby knees against the window. It was nighttime in an unfamiliar city when Ajax pulled into a 24-hour superstore and turned off his vehicle. He had stopped for fuel 3 times, Orion's bathroom breaks 5 times, and once for a short nap. He sandwiched his car next to 2 local vehicles and looked at Orion. All right, listen. You want to roll with me, you have to learn the rules. Rule number 1 is, you're whoever you need to be in the moment. In this moment, we're a cute couple getting groceries and whatnot. Got it? Orion rubbed sleep from his eyes as he peered back at Ajax's stony face. The soft moonlight highlighted the man's square jaw and weathered swarthy skin. His cavernous dark eyes snuffed the light as it shined into them, leaving nothing but gaping holes of emptiness. Yes. I got it. His heart somersaulted in his chest, but his stomach churned. He nibbled his bottom lip as he stuffed his feet in the new shoes. Good. While we're in here, you need to pick 2 more names. We'll get identification for them. And what do I call you? Ajax, AJ, Jax, or Axel? What's your favorite? I don't have one. Ajax rifled through the vehicle, uncovering a small safe from under Orion's seat. He unlocked it and thumbed through stacks of $20 bills, handing Orion 5 and tucking 5 more in his pocket before locking and stashing the box away again. Okay. Ajax is your main name. It's the one I've had the longest. We can discuss names later. Let's go get these supplies and check into a hotel for the night. We're going to have to overnight your fingerprint and picture to my guy, because we're behind schedule. How are we behind schedule? You've been driving all day. Yeah, well, I didn't factor in 5 bathroom breaks averaging 39 minutes each. I had to stretch my legs. Whatever. Get out of the car. Fine. Orion hopped out of the vehicle, tripping over his 2 big shoes as he stumbled around the vehicle, grabbing Ajax's hand. Ajax jerked away. What are you doing? Couples hold hands, Orion whispered, cutting his eyes up to Ajax's face and reaching for his hand again. He pressed his smooth palm into Ajax's rough skin, latticing their fingers. Ajax's hand twitched. His swollen lips pursed at the corners. He trudged towards the sliding door entrance, and a wash of cold air greeted him. Do you think we need a cart? Orion tilted his head up to Ajax. Yeah. I'll grab one. He wrestled his hand away from Orion, grabbing a wire shopping cart and a sanitation wipe. He swiped it over the cart's handle as Orion popped up beside him. Okay, so we need hair dye, clothes for me, food for you because we can't keep buying everything, a small ice chest and sodas. Whoa. This isn't a camping trip. We don't need an ice chest. Actually, honey, this is a camping trip. Orion giggled, leaning into Ajax and walking alongside him inside the supermarket. Ajax's lips curled and he squared his head with his spine. The muscles in his neck wound tight. Where are we going to put the ice chest? Behind your seat, if we put all of our bags on the other side. Then I can reach it whenever you're thirsty. Ajax grunted and wheeled the cart to the clothing section first, with Orion calling out items and grabbing things from the center aisles. Pick your clothes, baby, he gruffed. Anything I want? Within reason. What do you prefer? Boxers or briefs? I don't need new underwear. Not for you, for me. What would you prefer to see my ass in? Oh, briefs, I guess. He snatched a 6-pack of neutral-colored underwear. These'll work. Okay, and shorts? Booty shorts? You're not a chick. Right, but what if I like them? You're not a chick, though. So you're not supposed to wear them. Okay, but do you like booty shorts on women? Orion plucked a pair of faded denim shorts from one of the round clothing racks. Shorts like these. Rounded pockets extended past the leg cuts of the shorts, and they were 2 inches longer in the back than they were in the front. Yeah, they're good. Ajax's nostrils flared. Orion tossed them in the cart. He didn't consult Ajax on the 3 shirts he picked out for himself, or the pair of black jeans. In fact, aside from glancing at him every once in a while, Orion didn't ask him another question until they reached the shoe department. What shoes? Utility. Right? His dark eyebrows laced together as he tried on pair after pair of basic utility boots. Each one had an issue. The color was off, the fit too tight or too slender, the interior felt cheap. After 7 pair, Ajax growled, "Pick a pair. We have more shopping to do." Orion flicked his eyes up to the other man. "You could help." "Fine." He snatched the closest pair of shoes off the concrete floor. "These. I didn't like those because they hurt my heel." Orion returned the oversized slip-ons Ajax had purchased from the service station to his feet. "And I need another pair of these." "You're not getting 2 pairs of shoes. We don't have time for you to pick out a whole closet of clothes," Ajax hissed, moving close to Orion. "It's 1 more pair of shoes. They're less than $5, the boy quipped back. "And you are a terrible boyfriend." "We're pretending." "No, I'm pretending. You're being yourself but like extra." Ajax growled, "Watch it, boy. You're on my good graces right now, and you're treading paper-thin ice." 2 pairs of shoes, Orion insisted, defiance glowing in his green eyes. "If I have to." "Hello there. Y'all finding everything okay?" A frizzy-haired man turned the corner with an illegal amount of cheer in his tone. His dazzling smile startled Orion. "Yes." "No, actually," Orion cut in. Ajax glared at him. "Actually, I was looking for these boots in a half size. I'm usually a size 9, but I think 9.5 would be better for these." "Sure, I can check the back for you. I'll be right back." He nodded, smiling at them both and retreating with the pair of shoes in tow. Ajax scowled at Orion. "You keep this up and I will end you." A flicker of worry highlighted Orion's eyes, and he looked away, tucking his hands between his thighs. He set his jaw, teeth clenching together, but his trembling lower lip betrayed him. Orion rubbed his face, checking for tears before standing. "I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back." "Jay, just get the 9.5 or 10. Ajax grunted. Blinded by the tears welling in his eyes, Orion stumbled past several aisles on his way to the bathroom. His palm pressed into the wall for support as he disappeared in the gender-specific room and hid in a stall, bursting into tears as soon as he was alone. He cried in silence, tapping the back of his head on the blue stall walls, and sank to his feet, wrapping his arms around his legs. The stall was uncomfortable. The whole bathroom stank of cleaning products mixed with stray bodily fluids, but he was alone. His ribcage stretched with each violent breath. His heart assaulted his sternum. Orion sat on the cold tiles for 10 minutes as his galloping pulse ebbed. His eyelids drooped and he rested his cheek on his legs, tucking his arms between his torso and his thighs. His ribcage stretched with each violent breath. The bathroom door swung open. "Boy? You in here?" Ajax called. Annoyance overflowed in his tone. Orion bolted awake and swiped at puffy eyes. "Yes?" "God." His voice wavered. He scrambled to his feet and pushed the bathroom stall open. "You all right?" "I'm fine." He tugged his pants in place, approaching Ajax. "Your face is red and your eyes are puffy." Ajax touched the backs of his fingers to Orion's cheek. "Yes. Sometimes my face gets like this when I'm upset." Orion ducked away from his touch and stormed out of the bathroom. "Where are the shoes?" Ajax followed. "In the cart. 9.5 like you wanted." "Okay." "Yeah. And the slip-ons you wanted." He pointed at them. "Okay." Orion wiped his face again. "What else do we need?" "You made the list." "I did, but I don't want to be here anymore." "So can we go?" "I want to leave." Ajax studied the contents of the cart. "Fine. Grab bleach for your hair and we can go." Orion's mood improved as they walked to the food department, and he tossed bleach in the basket. Ajax added sodium percarbonate, hydrogen peroxide, and potassium carbonate. What is potassium carbonate? You probably know it as lye. Ajax squinted and snatched a few brown bottles of other substances, placing them in the basket as well. "I've heard of it, but what do you use it for?" "Cleaning drains." "You want something to eat?" "No." "You ain't eat anything all day." "We had a large breakfast." Orion hugged himself. "I guess." Ajax raked his fingers through his wispy curls, and his thick black eyebrows wrinkled. "We're done then." Orion shrugged. He walked behind Ajax up to the cash register, hands clasped behind his back, as Ajax emptied the cart onto the counter, dumping the clothes in a bundle and adding the cleaning supplies behind them. "Wowee! It's late tonight," the old woman behind the counter exclaimed, a smile on her rosy cheeks. "What are you two kids doing out so late?" Ajax thumbed through his bills, ignoring the woman's smiling face. "Oh well, we're going to go decompose some dead bodies and destroy all the evidence." Orion piped up, finally approaching Ajax's side. His green eyes sparkled. "Are you now?" The woman laughed. Her round belly jumped at every musical chuckle. Ajax looked at Orion. "Well, not technically. I have a biology experiment where I'm going to test the decomposition rate of various objects in various substances. The scientific method and all, but it sounds so much cooler the first way." "Oh, you're in school around here." Somehow, the woman's face lit up even more at Orion's further explanation. "Sorta. I go to school at the university, a few hours away." "Oh? Stringham University?" "Yep. I'm majoring in biology there." Orion beamed. "What about you? You go there too?" The woman looked at Ajax, and Ajax looked back at her. Her stringy silver hair clung to her round cheeks, and her crooked name tag read Eleanor. Eleanor's fat fingers double-bagged the chemical products. "Me? I'm done with school, ma'am," Ajax's voice rasped. "Just, working so he can follow his passion." Ajax looked at Orion, scrunching his eyebrows together. He swept his fingers through Orion's hair, and a smile lifted the corners of his lips. His features softened. "Aw, you're a good man. I tell ya, my first husband, ex-husband now, wouldn't give me bread if I was starving, let alone make a sacrifice so I could get an education. You ought to keep this one here." She wagged a finger at Orion. "Oh, I will," Orion teased, running a hand down Ajax's shoulder. Ajax cleared his throat. "Yeah. How much?" Eleanor rattled off the total as she nodded the bagged chemicals. Orion placed them in the cart, and Ajax handed over $20 bills. "Keep the change," he muttered, tucking his wallet away and wheeling the cart to the exit. As they drew closer, Orion's heart rate quickened and his legs were wooden. They were stiff as he forced himself forward. When they got to the traffic jam of discarded shopping carts, Ajax grabbed the bags and nudged the basket away. Orion froze. "I have to use the restroom," he stammered, eyes searching the space. "You went earlier, remember? When we were looking at your shoes." "Yes. I remember, but I have to go again." Ajax adjusted the items in his arms, shifting his weight all to one leg in a classic contrapposto, and puckered his lips. With curly hair and full pouty lips, Ajax was the modern rendition of the classic Greco-Roman gods. "Well, fine. I'm going to the car. Don't take forever this time, because we really need to get to the hotel before midnight." "Okay. Right, yes." Orion swallowed around a swelling knot in his throat as Ajax left the store with their supplies. He retreated back inside, walking up and down the aisles as his breathing returned to normal and his heart rate slowed down. He picked through the candy before selecting a few of Ajax's favorites, similar ones to the ones he ate earlier. He paid at the same register as before, smiling weakly to the woman as his heart rate increased again. When he neared the exit again, he sucked in his breath and went to the vehicle, opening the passenger door and collapsing in the seat. "Feel better?" Ajax had unfolded a map across the steering wheel, tracing paths with a stubby pencil. "Yes. I bought you candy." Orion shoved the bag at Ajax. The plastic caught on the lifted parking brake, and the bag ripped at the seams, dumping the contents into Ajax's lap. Big bars of chocolate flopped out of the bag, while individually wrapped taffy scattered in Ajax's lap and on the seat. "Oh, shit. Oh my God. I'm so sorry." "Whoa." Ajax jumped, snatching the map out of the way as Orion dug in his lap. Orion shoved the large packs of candy back in the torn bag, and then collected the individually packaged smaller pieces. "I'm so sorry." The boy's cheeks flamed under his tan skin. He rooted around Ajax's lap quicker, until the other man grabbed one wrist. "Stop," Ajax groaned, his commanding words weak with a gasp. What? "I have to oh." Orion paused, one hand still resting on Ajax's corded thigh. His ears burned, and his eyelashes kissed his freckle-dusted cheeks. Ajax shifted, hips curling back into the seat as the distinct outline of his cock pressed against his jeans. "I'll get it," he whispered, releasing Orion's arm. "Oh, okay," Orion sighed, a little smile playing on his face as he leaned back in his seat and crossed his legs. "To the hotel." "Yeah." Are you upset with me?" Ajax collected the candies, depositing them in the bag. He frowned at Orion's question. "Should I be?" "Why, you said you would kill me." "You pissed me off." "Why, yes, but are you still mad?" "Are you going to?" Orion's words cut off and he shook his head. "Nothing." "Am I going to what?" "Say it." A surge of adrenaline went through Orion again. His heart pounded against his ribcage. Are you going to kill me?" "No." "Ever?" Ajax gripped the gear shift and looked at the boy. "I don't know." "Okay." Ajax turned back to the steering wheel, and the little car sputtered to life when Ajax turned the key and pressed the clutch pedal. Ajax reversed out of the parking spot. They disappeared in a sea of cars. The stoic man sat back in his seat, rooting into the drive. His thumbs drummed the worn leather steering wheel. Orion studied the car's interior. From the outside, the car was unremarkable in every way. It was an old, reliable vehicle, and nothing more. The square-shaped car had sharp angles, slightly tinted windows, and a trunk accessible through the middle console on the back seat. The assassin stashed weapons in the storage pockets attached to each door. Each pocket contained a knife, a can of pepper spray, and a tiny pistol with a full magazine beside it. The glove compartment and front center console contained medical supplies. Wads of gauze were weighed down by saline, hydrogen peroxide, and prescription painkillers. The most impressive part of Ajax's old car was the radio and information panel. While the car's exterior metrics hadn't changed in 10 years, the brilliantly lit information panel had a plethora of options. It showed the mileage Ajax was getting per gallon, the speed they were going, the weather and temperature for the coming days, and the current time in various cities. It dazzled when Ajax had an incoming call, and Ajax pressed the blinking phone button. "Hello." Ajax glanced at the number highlighted on the screen, before back at the road. Orion stared at the number. It was 9 digits, and unrecognized by the vehicle or Ajax's connected cell phone. "Hey Jax. I didn't hear from you after your last job. How'd everything go?" "I'm well. Still on my way out." "Yeah, listen. I heard something on the wind." "What did you hear?" "I heard you have a travel partner now." Ajax didn't reply right away. He shifted gears as they reached highway speeds, and rested his elbow and forearm on the center console between the front seats. "What wind?" "Trav mentioned you needing an identity package." "Figures. Well? Did you call for a reason, or to ask about my personal life?" The man on the other line exhaled in a rolling chuckle. "Listen, I got a project for you. Any chance you'll be in the Midwest anytime soon?" "What kind of project?" "Nothing involving heat. I need you to get something for me." "Oh, I'm a delivery boy now?" "We'll split it 70-30. Ajax grumbled. "Fine. What's your timeline?" "Within the next couple weeks." "Good. We have a few things to attend to, and then we'll be up your way." So you do have a partner." "It's complicated, Ricky. You're babysitting while I do your job." "Deal? I'll catch up with you after I see Trav." "Good." The call ended. Orion looked at Ajax. Do assassins not say bye? No. Too predictable. What kind of job is it? I don't know, Ajax grunted. Ricky? Is he your friend? I don't have friends. Okay, well, are you and him close? Yeah, I guess. He's a little older than me. He's been in the game for a while. Is he as good as you? How do you know I'm any good? Because he called you to asking for help, Orion shrugged, and offered you 70% of the payment. Fair. He's not as light-footed. Ajax slowed the car down as he veered off the highway and into another deserted hotel parking lot with a flashing neon sign. I'll go in. Okay. Ajax grabbed an identification card and slipped out of the vehicle. Orion barely heard his feet touch the ground, and he closed the car door lightly, sealing it shut with a muffled thump. The boy sat in the car staring at the hotel's glass doors. A trucker, a hooker, and another young couple trickled in as he waited. The trucker stomped back out, pausing at the entrance and pocketing wrinkled bills as he glanced around. He peered at Orion, nodding to him, before turning and strolling down the side of the building, eyeing the faded door numbers. The hooker, a skinny woman wearing too high heels and a too short skirt, stumbled out of the building, hanging on Ajax's arm. Halfway to the car, he disentangled himself from the woman's grasp and motioned to the sidewalk. She reached for him again, but he stepped away, putting distance between them and administering her a hard, unyielding stare. They exchanged words. Orion squinted and examined Ajax's lips. When he couldn't decipher any of the words, his eyes darted around the vehicle before he pressed his hands against the glass. With all his force he pushed in and downward, but the glass didn't budge. His fingers squeaked across the window, leaving sweaty stripes. Orion squinted at Ajax's lips again, but the conversation was over. The woman stalked away from Ajax as he approached the car and sat down inside. What were you talking about? Orion asked, nostrils flaring as the heavy scent of perfume flooded the vehicle. Nothing. She wanted to take me for a ride. An actual ride? Or a ride in the figurative sense? Orion folded his arms across his chest. She wanted me to pay her for sex. I told her I wasn't interested tonight. Ajax handed the boy the keycard. I said I already had plans. Why would she ask a random guy for sex? Not random. I've fucked her before. Did you pay her the other time? Ajax drove the car across the concrete lot, parking right in front of their room door. They were on the first floor. Sort of. What is sort of? You know, we're not pretending to be a couple anymore. I don't owe you answers. I know, but I was curious. They have a saying about curiosity. Ajax carried both backpacks and all the bags from the store, dumping them on the table inside. He handed Orion the peroxide. Fix your hair. Then I need your fingerprint. Right? Okay. Orion chewed the inside of his cheek. What are you about to do? Take a nap. Orion nodded and moved into the bathroom. He left the door cracked and positioned where he could see Ajax slumping into the lumpy chair between the air conditioning and the hotel window. With a little smirk, Orion turned away and slipped out of his clothes. Lounge pants dropped to the ground, and he peeled the shirt over his head. It had been 2 days since he saw his husband bleed to death from a precise head wound on their Persian rug. It had been 2 days since Ajax pointed a gun to his head with the intention of killing him too. It had also been 2 days since he had lain awake in his 4-poster bed with the sheets curled around his neck, praying for a quiet night. His bruises were now muddy yellow against his tan skin. Orion combed his fingers through his thick dark hair and puckered his lips in the mirror. Ajax? Yeah? Should I cut it? My hair? Do you want to? Ajax looked up from the ground, peering at Orion through the cracked door. I don't know. It would look more different. Perhaps if I cut it even and then grew it long. It'll look ugly for about 6 months, won't it? Yes. Orion chuckled. Which do you think will look better? Short or long? Orion dabbed the hydrogen peroxide on a towel and streaked it through his hair in sections. As he reached the shaved sides and back, the long waves on the top of his head lightened. You'll look like a girl with long hair, Ajax grunted, digging a gun from his bag and disassembling it. He placed each piece on the dark oak table, aligning them in a row. Is there a problem with looking like a girl? Nope. Short or long? It don't matter. It's going to be short before it gets long. You sound like a fortune cookie. Stop talking and focus on what you're doing. I am. I already put the peroxide in my hair, and now I'm waiting to rinse it out. Orion creaked the bathroom door open more, leaning against the frame. This hotel room was as unremarkable as the last. The rooms had the same orange floral comforter, the same dark oak furniture set, and the same rumbling air conditioner. Placement and smell were the only differences. The rooms mirrored each other with the bed anchoring everything in place, and cigarette smoke clung to the faded curtains. Good. When the gun was disassembled, Ajax cast it aside with a bored frown and reached for his backpack, sliding it closer to him. What would you be doing if I wasn't here? Watching television, probably. Oh? Watching what? The news. Sometimes cartoons. Why aren't you watching television right now? Because, Ajax shrugged, I need to hear. He retrieved a change of clothes from his backpack and peeled his black t-shirt off his body. Ajax's torso shifted, curving and swaying like an entranced snake as he pulled the shirt over his broad shoulders. Ah, Orion whimpered. All right. H here. Oh, okay. I'm going to rinse my hair now. He stumbled back into the bathroom, turning on the shower and jumping in when the stream was warm. He dipped his head under the water. After the quick rinse, he conditioned his hair with one of the small bottles of complimentary liquid conditioner and rinsed again. Nimble fingers roped a towel around his hair and another around his torso. How's it look? The television played from the main room. I haven't looked yet. Orion wandered out of the bathroom, with one hand supporting the towel around his waist. Ajax had moved from the chair to sprawled on the bed. He muted the television and regarded Orion, resting his head on his forearm and the remote on his muscled belly. His features sagged with exhaustion, lids drooping over dark eyes. Let me see. Orion scrubbed his hair again, before letting the towel fall to his shoulders. His auburn waves had lightened to a yellow blonde, with the roots of his hair a little darker than the rest. How does it look? You're blonde. Okay, but do you like it? You look different. More ethereal. Because the green eyes. Really? Well, good. We should have purchased purple toner. I forgot. Why? Because it'll make it look less California surfer dude and more platinum. Orion opened the pack of underwear and pulled a pair of briefs over his body. Ah. He smoothed down the prickly start of new pubic hair as his underwear snapped to his hips, and he looked at Ajax again. I need. Orion paused and exhaled in a soft giggle. The man's eyes had closed. His muscles had all relaxed and shaved off several years of hard work from his features. He almost looked innocent. Never mind. Smiling, Orion repacked their things. He packed the bleach next to the rest of Ajax's chemicals and folded his new clothes into his backpack. He placed the candy on the table as he slouched into the chair beside the air conditioning and studied Ajax's disassembled pistol. With the candy beside him, he spent the rest of the night halfway reading the captioning on the television and assembling Ajax's pistol. As the sun peeked into the room, Orion slid the magazine into the handle of the gun, snapping it in place and checking over his work. Ajax groaned in the bed, rolling onto his side and burrowing his face in the stiff hotel pillows. His chest rose and fell with deep breaths until he thrashed awake. He sat up and glared at the front door, eyes unblinking until he convinced himself it was secure. Then sullen eyes landed on Orion. What are you doing? Me? Orion massaged bloodshot eyes. I packed our things. We're ready to go. Ajax grunted and moved over to the table. The room vibrated each time his heavy boots made contact with the floor. The economical light fixture jingled, and the pistol wiggled closer to Orion. You put this back together? Ajax snatched the handgun off the table. I tried to, yes. With thick eyebrows knit together, Ajax checked the assemblage of the gun. Looks good, he muttered. Keep the magazine out or have the safety on, unless you want to kill someone. If you want to kill someone, take the safety off. He held the firing end as he presented the gun to Orion. Thanks? Orion's voice quaked. He took the gun from Ajax, removing the magazine. What do we have to do today? Take a picture of you, get the picture developed at the drugstore, take your fingerprint, mail items to Trav, pick up a package, pack car, leave. Wouldn't it be smarter to take my fingerprint before we leave? Then we only have to be away from the hotel one time, unless you want to pack everything in the car before we leave. Orion popped a piece of chocolate into his mouth. Ajax placed his backpack on the table, removing a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, a roll of clear tape, a makeup brush, and a small tile block. How do you take a fingerprint, anyway? Ajax thumbed a cigarette from the pack and lit it, inhaling a slow drag before exhaling. Ash smooth surface tape. I what? Orion blinked. It sounds deceptively simple. Also, why do you have those things on hand with you? Just in case. In case of what? In case I need a fingerprint. My sole profession isn't killing people. Sometimes it's getting information. Most of the time, it's getting information. Another drag on the cigarette, before he flicked it on the hotel-branded notepad. Clean the tile. Soap water towel. And then don't touch the surface. The curls of smoke burned Orion's nose and clung to his now blonde hair as he snatched the tile from in front of Ajax, scurrying to the bathroom. He returned a few minutes later with the clean tile and placed it back in its original spot. Put your thumb on the tile like you're doing one of those ink print things, Ajax instructed. Orion pressed his thumb into the cold tile, rolling it left and right, top and bottom. Why does he need a fingerprint? Security. Ajax littered the blank tile with cigarette ash and swiped away the excess with the makeup brush, revealing a perfect thumbprint. Now what? The tape. How did you learn these things? Learn what things? Like how to assemble a gun, knowing to travel after you do the crime, getting fingerprints. Mentors. Like Ricky. Yeah, and others. Everyone has someone to offer you, if you have the patience to listen. Orion bit his lip as he looked down at his fingerprint. Thanks? For not killing me 3 days ago. Ajax shrugged and grabbed the clear tape, peeling it back and tearing it with his teeth. Holding the tape taut, he lowered it onto the fingerprint, smoothed it and lifted it off, securing the back with another piece of raggedly torn tape. Done. What else is on my list? A photograph of me. Do you have a cell phone with a camera? Maybe. Ajax sat 6 cell phones on the table, one after the other. 3 of them were simple black flip phones, one slid upwards, one slid out to the side, and the last was a black touchscreen phone with a tiny dot in the center for a front-facing camera. Why do you have so many cell phones? Different people call on different ones. Except the nice one. No one calls on the nice one. Why not? They're too easy to track. Nice ones are for GPS and emergencies. Cheap ones are for clients. Oh. Orion picked up the touchscreen phone and pressed the button on the side until it lit up and played a musical jingle. Will you take the picture? Put on more clothes. Right. With the cell phone in his hand, he draped a shirt over his shoulders and shorts on his hips. We forgot socks, Orion muttered as he stuffed his bony feet into the boots. Thought you wanted the thongs. I did, but this looks more rugged. Orion combed his fingers through his hair, thumbs tapping on the cell phone. What are you doing? Checking to see how traceable you are. I know you don't use this one often, but I want to know how much information is sent and retrieved when you do. I mean, anything can be traced via phone call, right? If you stay on the line too long. Yes. Except maybe calling from a computer with a foreign internet protocol address. Yes. Orion smiled. But you don't have a computer. No. Never could figure out the IP address, junk. Orion chuckled. So there's something you can't do. Never said I was perfect. Give it here. He curled his fingers, beckoning for the phone, and tapped on the screen when Orion surrendered it. Go against the wall. Orion raked through his hair as he got into position, directing his pale green eyes to Ajax. He quirked his lips in a smile as the man fussed with the phone, hooking his thumbs in the loops of the jean shorts. Ready? Would be easier if I bought a damn camera. Cameras and phones aren't meant to go together. Ajax held up the phone and snapped a picture as Orion snickered. Done. Hey. I wasn't ready. Let me see how it looks. The boy grabbed at the phone. Ajax lifted it out of his reach. It looks fine. We don't have all day to take pictures. Orion pressed into Ajax's body, standing on his toes as he reached for the phone. Give it. No. It's fine. He dangled it over Orion's head, a boyish smile highlighting his face. No, I need to see it. It's my ID card, and I want to see the picture. He hopped, flailing his fingers in the air and brushing the corner of the cell phone. Ajax rooted in his spot, corded legs holding him steady as Orion crashed into his body. Nope. Give it ah. He stumbled, roping his arms around Ajax's neck and falling into him. Ajax smelled heavenly, despite the cigarette smoke on his lips and the lack of a recent shower. He was the perfect combination of natural spice, sweat, and musk, exciting all of Orion's nerve endings. Orion felt Ajax's strong arm grab him around the middle, sweeping over his shirt and fingers curling around his torso. My God, Orion whispered. Ajax squeezed him closer to his warm body, and Orion felt every rippling muscle of his chest through the thin film of his t-shirt. You all right? Why, yes. I slipped. Orion found his footing again, hands sliding from around Ajax's neck down his chest. Good. Ajax's muscles shuddered, and he handed Orion the phone. Here. Thanks? Cheeks burning, he surveyed the picture. Ajax had caught him with a natural smile and sparkling eyes. I guess this picture will do. I like it. Ajax packed his supplies again. Orion's cheeks burned more, and his ears reddened at the tips. Oh. I'll put it on the SIM card and take it out right. Yeah, whatever. Sounds right. Really not into computers, are you? No. Ajax put on his shirt from the previous evening and prowled around the hotel room. Where are you getting the package? It should be at the post office. I have a box there. This is the middle of nowhere, and you pay for a post office box here? Yes. It's convenient. I have a lot to learn. Orion rolled his eyes, pocketing the SIM card and turning the cell phone off again. Will you get me a phone? Why do you need one? I don't know. It feels weird not to have one. You're always with me and you can't call your family. So why do you need one? Orion's shoulders sagged. I guess I don't. Too much risk. The ones I already have are a lot of risk. I guess. Let's go. Toss the bags and get your stuff. Ajax threw his backpack over his shoulder and left the hotel room. Orion sat down at the orange self-service kiosk and tapped the touchscreen monitor while Ajax milled beside him, masquerading as his brooding Gothic boyfriend. Ajax wore all black and a frown, clunking in a half-circle around the machine as Orion followed the instructions. Are you finished yet? Ajax hissed, pausing beside the other man with his hands on his hips. This is the third time you've asked, and my answer is still the same. Listen. Go do something. Standing over me isn't going to make it go any faster. Orion scowled at Ajax, flicking his green eyes up at the man's surly face. Ajax grunted, "Fine. Go find breakfast." Orion shooed him, waving his hand in the air as he turned back to the screen, concentrating on the steady flow of directions. Ajax squinted at the screen before grunting again. "I'll be back." He moved away from Orion and the kiosk, lumbering down the long aisles of the unusually quiet store. He started his shopping trip in the freezer section because it was right next to the self-service printing section, and he snatched 2 golden bottles of tea from the enclosure, tucking them under his strong arms. The other side of the aisle housed snack-sized bags of chips, popcorn, and cookies. He plucked his favorite triangle-shaped chips from the center shelf and then paused, studying the other bags. Ajax walked up and down the aisle. He picked up a blue bag of vanilla cream cookies. He put them back. He picked up a bag of air-popped popcorn, holding it in his hands for a few steps. He backtracked and put them back on the shelf too, before stomping over to Orion, dropping the cold drinks on the counter. "I'm not finished yet." Orion didn't look up from the kiosk. "Yeah. What chips do you like?" "I don't eat chips." "Okay, do you eat popcorn?" "No." "Cookies?" "No." "Did you see any dried fruit?" "Dried fruit?" A whine started in the back of Ajax's throat. "Yes, dried fruit. Usually, it's beside the cookies, or maybe on the next aisle over. Banana chips or apple rings, preferably." Ajax stared at Orion. "What?" The boy glanced at Ajax. "Fruit? The dried kind?" "Yes. I like sweet, not savory, and if I have a choice, I prefer something healthy." "Fine. Dried fruit." Ajax picked up the bottles of tea and turned on his heels. "Oh, make sure the ingredients don't have added sugar." "Right." Ajax disappeared down the aisles again, murmured Orion's instructions as he passed canned goods with peeling green labels, cardboard boxes of cereal, and an impressive selection of cheap dried noodles. The dried fruit was squeezed between a myriad of different flours and raw baking nuts. Soft apple rings had fused themselves together inside an airtight package, forming an unappetizing misshapen lump. The banana chips looked a little better. They weren't all stuck together, and they resembled an oval, chip-like shape. The dried cranberries were less appealing than the apples with ruby stains on the clear viewing cutaway. After surveying the options, Ajax grabbed the apple rings and the banana chips, tucking them under his arms along with 2 bags of chips, 2 bottles of water, 1 soda, and 1 bottled iced tea. He wandered back over to Orion, who sat cross-legged at the kiosk. "I'm done now." The boy offered a pack of prints to Ajax before quirking an eyebrow. "You could have gotten a basket." "No. When you get a basket, you buy too much stuff." "Right?" Orion rolled his eyes. "I already paid for this with the money I had left over from yesterday." "Good," Ajax muttered as they walked to the front of the store. He dropped the assortment of items on the tan counter, separating them from the cashier. The cashier swiped them over the metal table scanner and dropped them into a bag on the other side. "It'll be $21.37. He placed the bag on the counter as Ajax dug his wallet out of the back pocket of his jeans. Ajax paid with a whole dollar amount, snatched the bag from the table, and left, eating salt and vinegar chips on the way to the post office. Orion nibbled the apple rings. Ajax licked salt from his fingers. Lesson number 2. Always pay with cash when you can. Cash has no paper trail. What about hotels and renting cars? Different identification cards, and try to avoid renting cars. This is why I always stay in the crappy-looking hotels. Nice hotels ask more questions, but the off-the-highway places don't care much as long as your card goes through, and some accept cash. "Oh," Orion murmured around an apple ring. He licked the juice off his lips and sealed the bag. "We need wet wipes." "There's no baby." Orion chuckled. "We need wet wipes for our own hands. Always pay with cash. I'm going to go inside and get the envelope and stamps. I'll use cash for them, and you're going to get your package?" "Yes." Ajax confirmed. They strolled into the old post office side by side. Ajax held the door open as Orion stepped over the metal threshold, and then they parted ways. The room to the right contained a winding line of people and all of the post office's purchasable items. Orion yanked a glass door open and wiggled around the other patrons as he made selections before retreating to the back of the line. Ajax watched from the library until Orion took his place in line before searching for his mailbox. He walked down one aisle with floor-to-ceiling mailboxes and the next aisle until he found his mailbox one row from the dusty concrete floor. He crouched and fit a small key into the lock, twisting it to the right. The mailbox swung open and surrendered a folded legal envelope. He unfolded it as he removed it. "To my dearest and oldest friend," the first line read. Ajax grinned. His post office box address followed in scrawled, androgynous handwriting. He locked the mailbox again, securing his keys to the belt of his dark jeans, and met Orion at the front workstation in the main lobby of the post office. Orion had placed an envelope, stamps, and the pictures on the counter. He twirled a cheap ink pen in his slender fingers. "Who am I addressing this to? And do you have everything else we need?" "I'll write the address." Ajax retrieved the thumbprint out of his pocket, exchanging it with the crisp white envelope. He plucked the ink pen from Orion's fingers, avoiding his soft skin. In the same neutral handwriting on his own postage, he addressed the envelope. "To my dearest and oldest friend," Ajax wrote, a grin touching his face for a second time. He scrawled the address of another post office. "Why are you smiling?" Orion observed, peering at the letter. "Inside joke," he rumbled, passing the letter and the pen back to Orion. "This feels too obvious," Orion muttered. "I need more than a photo to put in here." Licking his lips, he disassembled the photo envelope he received at the drugstore. He peeled the tacked corners from each other and smoothed it into a square with the printed side up. He placed the photograph and the thumbprint in the center and folded the paper before inserting it into the envelope. He dabbed his fingers on his tongue and smoothed them over the moisture-activated strip before sealing the letter closed. "Never do that again," Ajax whispered. "What?" Orion blinked. "Don't give away your DNA." "Oh." The boy frowned, drumming his fingers on the counter before turning back to Ajax. "I could get another envelope?" "No, it's fine for now." "Finish up." Ajax leaned against the counter as Orion dropped the mail in the slot. They left together, and Ajax held the door for him again. Back inside the old white sedan, Ajax ripped open the legal envelope, removing several torn pages of elementary notebook paper with jagged edges on the left side. Coal-black eyes scanned the page, reviewing a jumble of consonant letters. "Yeah." Ajax tucked the pages back into the envelope. "What does it say?" Ajax handed the envelope to Orion and cranked his vehicle. He rested one hand on the passenger headrest as he twisted his body and reversed out of the tight parking space. Orion pulled the sheets of paper out and leaned back in his seat. "I can't read this. It makes no sense." He tapped the papers with his fingers. This isn't written in English, and it has no vowels, so it's not written in any other language either." "What?" Ajax merged into oncoming traffic. "You heard me. You knew I couldn't read it, didn't you?" "Yes." "Is this assassin lesson number 3? "I'm not an assassin. I prefer person for hire. It sounds cleaner." "You called yourself an assassin before," Orion reminded him. "I might have, but before I was trying to scare you. Now I am trying to teach you." "Okay." Orion wet his pink lips. "Is this person for hire lesson number 3? "Sort of. I'm not going to teach you the code, because you don't need to know it. However, you and me, we need a code." "Why?" "For text messages, for notes we might leave in hotel rooms, for letters if we're ever in separate locations." "Why would we be separated?" "Look, if you're staying with me, you're going to be a person for hire. One day you're going to take jobs. Maybe not soon, but you will. We won't always be side by side, so don't get used to this. I don't, Orion shivered. You're going to teach me? Yeah, when we get back to my place. I'm going to teach you. Orion chewed his bottom lip. Have you had a student before? Yes. What happened to them? She died in training. The boy blinked, thick eyelashes kissing his cheeks as his eyelids fluttered. I don't want to die. She didn't pass the final test. Ajax veered right and drove onto the empty highway. There's a final test. Yes. What is it? I can't tell you. It'll be whatever you're weakest in. Ajax pressed the button for the radio. Smooth-sounding hip-hop songs blared from the speakers, and Ajax turned the music down to a low roar. The heavy bass beats vibrated the car, but the words were intelligible. But you will teach me everything I need to know, even if it takes a long time? It won't take a long time, but yeah. Okay. Orion opened his bag of apple rings again, green eyes watching the road. They continued on the highway through to the next major city, and until the vehicle's fuel light flashed angrily at them. Ajax had flicked through radio stations the entire drive, humming along to familiar songs and changing the station when the song was too upbeat or too busy. Orion finished the apple rings and the banana chips, smacking his lips as he cleaned his sticky fingers. He downed his last swallow of tea as they rolled into a fuel station. The car coasted to a stop beside a fuel pump. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go inside and get food while you pump the gas, Orion announced, unbuckling his seatbelt and stuffing his feet into his shoes. Okay. What you want, Ajax? Anything. I don't care. Okay. He bit his lip over more words and hopped out of the vehicle, sauntering to the convenience store. His hips swayed with his walk, showing off a sliver of skin over his shorts and before his shirt's hem. Ajax wet his lips, eyes traveling up and down Orion's slender legs. His cheeks warmed, and he adjusted the seat of his own jeans before he climbed out of his vehicle, locked it, and moved inside as well. He dropped a $20 bill on the counter. On pump 4, he groused. Sure thing. Want a receipt? The cashier tapped the keys on the register. No. All right, you're good. Ajax nodded, glimpsing the aisles for Orion. He spotted the boy snatching more bags of overpriced apple rings from the middle of the shelf. Ajax smirked and approached him. I forgot you had to come inside to pay. Orion's cheeks colored deep crimson, and he studied the gray tiled floor. His blonde waves kissed his high cheekbones as his hair swayed with his movements. Yeah. More apple rings? Ajax teased one of the packages in Orion's arms. Yes. I like them because they're sweet and filling. Right? Get me a hot plate at least. A hot plate? Orion quirked a dark eyebrow, picking up the last package of apple rings. Yeah. He pointed at a counter in the far corner of the convenience store. A stainless steel hot dog roller sat on the table, with several foot-long hot dogs marinating under a rich yellow light. A pizza stand with hot single slices of pepperoni and cheese sat beside the hot dog roller. Oh, which do you want? Pizza. Which kind? One of each. Of course. Orion giggled. I'll be out in a minute. All right. Ajax returned to the white sedan, filling the vehicle's tank with the cheapest available fuel. He drove the vehicle forward into a front-row parking space when he had finished pumping the gasoline and sat in the car, pulling a paper map out of the glove compartment and surveying it. Fingers tracing old pencil-drawn routes. He finished charting the path they were on when the boy yanked open the passenger door, dumping his spoils onto the seat. We shouldn't have to stop again but for dinner, Orion explained, fitting 2 huge drinks in the drink holders and passing Ajax triangle pizza boxes. Speaking of dinner, are we in a hotel again tonight? No. What? No? Where are we staying? We should be arriving at my friend's bar tonight. He's got some rooms upstairs we can stay in. Is he expecting us? I mean me. No, but he won't care. You'll like him. He's real smart and been in the game a long time. Ajax folded the map and returned it to the dash compartment, opening a pizza box and lifting the slice out of its protective case. He devoured his first slice in the parking lot as Orion bit into a fully dressed hot dog, complete with ketchup, mustard, crinkled pickles, and large crystals of sea salt. Ah, Orion groaned as he chewed the first bite, swallowing with another pleasured noise. This is the best food I've had in a while. No, you're hungry. I guess, but I love hot dogs. They're a rare treat. These ones aren't, I assure you. I don't care. It's still good. He took another bite, defiance sparkling in his pale green eyes. Sure. So tell me more about your friend. What kind of guy is he? I don't know. He's a guy. Is he straight, gay, bisexual? When did you meet him? How long have you known him? Is he married? Why does he own a restaurant? He's married to a woman. I met him when I was a kid. The bar is a safe spot. I can relax while I'm there. You don't have a lot of safe spots? Why would I? Fair. He bit into his hot dog again. Where did you grow up? In the city. I think we've been across 4 states in the last few days, so you have to be more specific when you say the city. A large city. In the southern portion of the United States. Specific enough. Ajax cranked his sedan and left the service station. No. Was it in Florida? No. Georgia? No. Texas? No. South Carolina? Stop guessing. One more. Tennessee. Ajax growled no. Fine. What were your parents like? I didn't have parents. Everyone has parents. Everyone has to have a mother and a father, because biology requires it. You're naive. Maybe. I want to know more about you. Orion slouched down in his seat, his ass teetering on the edge. His shoulders pressed into the back, and his feet rested on the dashboard. He ripped open a bag of apple rings, and broke the first ring into 2 smaller pieces, popping both of them into his mouth. Okay. I grew up in the city, at a homeless shelter. My mother didn't want me, couldn't keep me, didn't know she was pregnant until a baby fell out of her snatch. I don't know. All I know is I was raised by some homeless guys. Did you call one of them Dad? Yeah. D. Ajax shrugged. Yeah. I called him Dad. Was he a good dad? He taught me how to survive, so yeah, he was a good dad. Orion nodded, and focused on unsticking 2 apple rings. Delicate fingers pried apart the tan, meaty fruit. Will I meet him? No. Why not? Because he's dead. Oh. Shit, I'm sorry. It's fine. People die. It's a life cycle. He died on a job. So, he was one of you? Like a person for hire? Ajax shrugged and snickered. Yeah. He was. He taught me everything I know except how to die. Ajax? Death jokes aren't funny. No, they totally are. Orion rolled his eyes. Whatever. Who are we meeting right now? Jake? And Cicely, his wife. Tell me about Jake. There's not much to tell. He's a guy. He's never been good on the field, but he wanted to do something for us, you know, the workers. So he bought this bar, and it's a travel stop. It's Switzerland. Huh. I mean, it's civil. No fights in there. Even if you don't like someone, while you're in his bar, you respect it. So if you're tracking someone and you find them in his bar, you have to wait until he leaves to keep going after him? Technically, yeah. But if I'm tracking someone and I'm in Jake's bar, he's screwed. I'd even give him a head start out of there if he wanted. You're arrogant. I have a reason to be. Sure. In my world, arrogant men have other arrogant men after them all the time. I bet. Like my husband. And your father probably. Probably. Orion resealed the bag of apple rings and stashed them away. Pass me my other slice of pizza, please. Orion passed it over, popping it open as he did. Thanks. So, how'd you get hitched with a guy damn near 3 times your age? I was a gift. I thought we went over this already. Briefly. So what, the old clown was into boys? Yes. He was. You're kidding, right? No. Orion shifted in his seat, tugging his shorts down over his thighs a little more and rubbing his hands over his legs. His eyes searched the sedan before he turned his face away from Ajax and looked outside. Okay. Ajax bit into his pizza again, but the cold cheese and rich sauce turned to ash in his mouth. He dropped it back in the box and pushed it away as he rolled his current bite around his mouth, chewing slowly and forcing it down his throat. Yeah. I'm done with this. With what? Orion's eyes widened, and he whipped his head back around to Ajax scrambling in his seat. With the pizza. Calm down. I can hear your breathing. Oh. With flushed cheeks, Orion leaned back against the sedan door. Don't lean against the door. All right, he whimpered, shrinking into his seat. The conversation died, and Ajax listened to Orion's breathing go from rapid to steady to the thralls of sleep. Hours passed. Orion curled into himself, his back and legs shielding his sensitive areas, and Ajax turned the radio volume up, loud enough to drown out the sound of Orion's breathing. The boys slept through the hottest part of the day, leaving Ajax to the frequently played contemporary music. The simplicity of driving left Ajax's mind vacant, and he replayed Nikolai's murder. He reviewed every calculated step. He felt the cold barrel of his rifle in his hands, and the recoil from each shot through his bones. He sank in the grass as he walked across their lawn and kicked the door open. Orion stirred when the sun lowered to his window, shining directly on his face. You all right? Ajax turned the music down as Orion wiggled out of his tight position, stretching his arms over his head and his slender legs forward. Why, yes. Where are we? About 3 hours out of where we're stopping for the night. Orion knuckled his eyes and arched his back with a soft moan. Okay, he sighed. Ajax grunted, yeah. Will there be food at the bar? Hot food? Yeah, they can make you something. Orion nodded. I was 17 when my dad gave me to him officially. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. No, I want you to know. He picked at his nail beds, green eyes glimpsing Ajax's face. I was 17 when we got married, but he'd been to the house before. Many times for transactions. Orion chewed his bottom lip. Like what? After a nice spot of food, your pops looked away and he went into your room. Orion shrugged. I don't know exactly how it went. I pictured killing him all the time. When he fell over dead, I thought I'd wished him dead. You until you walked inside. Yeah, Ajax muttered. How long had you been watching us? A few weeks. So why you saw things? Ajax dug in his pocket for a cigarette and put it between his full lips, swiping a handheld lighter until it caught a flame. His first drag was long and he held it in, exhaling through his nose. Some things. Like what? I saw him beat you the morning before I put a bullet in his skull. I saw him fuck your face. Another drag, and he flicked the ash out of the window. I saw you gag in the kitchen. Orion shivered and his face colored. Anything else? Why do you want to know? I want to know how dirty you think I am. I don't think you're dirty. I think Rostislav is a piece of trash. There's a special place in hell for men who touch children, and he's sitting in it right now. Ajax finished his cigarette and tossed it out the window. He deserves to burn, Orion agreed, voice barely above a whisper. Yeah. Ajax scanned at the seat of his pants, adjusting a tightness between his thighs. 3 hours later, Ajax veered off the major highway, turned left once, right twice, and rolled into a parking lot. He parked beside a rusted orange truck. "We're here." "Oh." Orion peered out the vehicle's window at an old tavern straight out of classic history. It had 3 pointed peaks painted with a green roof. Smoke puffed from the yellow and orange block chimney, and men sat on the second-floor balcony, clanking drinks together and knocking them back. The front panel of the tavern had a checkerboard pattern over tan siding, and the square pillars supported the second-floor overhang shielding the entrance. Gold illuminated the floor-to-ceiling front windows. "Okay, I'm nervous now." "About what?" "What if no one likes me?" "Well, this isn't a schoolyard playground, so you don't have to worry about being liked. Get your bag." Ajax climbed out of the sedan and grabbed his black backpack, throwing it on his shoulder. Pocketing his keys, he led Orion to the door, resting a hand on his back as he guided him inside. Orion sucked in a breath as he stepped over the metal threshold into the tavern, hugging Ajax's side. The tavern split into 2 parts, the long bar on the left side and the collection of round tables occupying the rest of the area. The tables formed a checkerboard pattern, mimicking the latticed exterior. At this hour, the establishment was packed with men who were surlier than Ajax and women who were lean and leggy. The rugged older men looked up from their bubbling drinks as the 2 younger men entered, their scarred faces distorting. Ajax nodded to the group and sank down in a seat at the bar, Orion still at his side. "My name's Leah, what can I get you?" The bartender dropped 2 square napkins in front of them and then rested an elbow on the counter, leaning forward with a smile in her rich brown eyes. "Whatever's on tap," Ajax grunted. "Sure thing," she replied, biting her bottom lip as she studied Ajax from head to toe. She squeezed her chest between her forearms, and her creamy breast bulged between them. Brown areolas peeked from the heart-shaped cup of her bra and the gap of her V-necked shirt. "You new around here?" "No." Ajax looked at Orion. "Order what you want." "Our rum and coke, please." "Yeah, sure, I'll get you Captain and Coke." Leah pushed up from the counter and swayed her hips as she strolled from them to the other men sitting along the bar. She refilled a bearded man's beer and laughed with a dark-skinned man in the far corner. The curvy bartender returned with a short glass of brown liquid and a pint of amber liquid with a layer of white foam on the top. "What else?" "He's hungry." Ajax tasted his beer. "And I need to speak to Jake." "Why, yes. Can I get a menu, please?" Orion sat his backpack in his lap and kept his back straight. "Oh, and a straw." Leah puckered her lips, slipping a plastic straw in Orion's drink and sliding a menu his way before looking at Ajax again. "Jake's not around right now, but I've got Cicely here for ya. Find him, and tell him an old friend is here to see him." "Where's that old friend?" "You ain't talking about yourself, are you?" She smirked, now twirling a lock of her hair. She squeezed her cleavage together again, showing off freckled, pale skin. "I think I would like the old-fashioned burger and fries, please," Orion cut in, forcing a smile. "Does it come dressed?" "Dressed?" "It comes with lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onions, ketchup, and mayonnaise." Leah snatched the menu off the table. "Dressed? I want it dressed, thank you." Orion looked at Ajax. "You should eat something too. You haven't eaten all day." He squeezed Ajax's shoulder. I'll have what he's having. Dressed or whatever." "All righty. 2 burgers and fries. I'll see what I can do about Jake." She slipped away. "I don't like her," Orion whispered, stirring his drink with a skinny black straw. "Yeah, I bet you don't." Ajax chuckled, gulping his beer. "She keeps looking at you, and everyone's looking at us too." "So she does, and they're looking at you." "Fine. They're looking at me." "Why?" "Because you look green." "No, I do not." Orion pursed his lips. "I mean, you look fresh. Not jaded. Not old and used. Innocent." "I see. Well, it makes me a little uncomfortable." "Don't worry about it. You're safe." Ajax raked his fingers through Orion's hair, resting a heavy hand on the back of his neck. Orion closed his eyes. Okay, he whispered, hugging his bag to him. There's extra rooms upstairs if you don't want to stay down here after you eat. Can I eat in the room? No, you eat down here. Orion nodded, stirring his drink again. So, Leah skipped back over to them, I got in touch with Jake for ya. He'll be around in a bit. He said your old room's still up there for you too. Yep. And the food is on the house, Ajax added. Well, no, he didn't say the food was on the house. He will when he gets here. So, how do you know the owner of this place? Leah leaned against the counter. I think we already covered it. I'm an old friend. Well, have y'all been traveling long? A while. The kitchen bell dinged and Leah sighed. I think it's your burger and fries. Leah spun on her heels, refilling drink orders as she approached the kitchen window. Ajax murmured, quirking the corner of his lips at Orion. Orion's eyes glittered. Here yare. 2 burgers, 2 fries. You need anything extra? She dropped a plate in front of Orion and a plate in front of Ajax. Ketchup, please. Orion nibbled a steaming French fry. Oh, and extra napkins. Thanks. Sure thing. Leah lost some of her mirth on her return, dropping a 3/4 empty bottle of ketchup and a thick stack of napkins between the 2 plates. Anything else? Orion glanced at Ajax, who had already lifted the burger in his hands, and back at Leah. No, I think we're good. With a forced smile, Leah nodded and left them to their meal. Ajax bit into his burger, squeezing it around the sides, as a greasy tomato covered in mayonnaise slipped out the back. It fell into the plate with a wet plop. Damn it, Ajax muttered. Aw. Having trouble? Orion giggled as he sliced his burger in half. Delicate fingers lifted the smaller half for a bite before returning it to the plate. He pinched a napkin between his fingers, cleaning the grease from them and eating more French fries. No. Well, yeah. Scowling, Ajax tucked the tomato back into the burger, adding French fries on top of the tomato and pressing the burger flat. With another chuckle, Orion continued eating, finishing the first half of his burger. He ate a portion of the second half and the majority of the fries. I'm finished. Orion pushed his plate away. You're done with your burger? Ajax peered at the boy's plate. Yes. I'm too full to eat anymore. Do you want it? Yeah, I'll eat it. Ajax devoured the last couple fries on his plate and ate the remainder of Orion's food. When he was done, he sucked his fingers, stacking the plates. When is Jake getting here? Now. Who's looking for me? A squat man with a scraggly beard approached the couple, yanking up the back of his jeans. He removed a worn baseball hat, dropping it on the table next to Ajax, and tousled his salt and pepper hair. Orion blinked, squeezing his backpack. I'm sorry. We have something for you. Ajax clucked his tongue. Jake? Finally, I was considering sending out a search party. Liar. How you been, kid? Not dead yet, you? Not dead yet. You got something for me? Jake folded his arms across his round beer belly and leaned against the bar counter. Yeah. Ajax dug in his backpack, retrieving the legal envelope and surrendering it to Jake. Confidential? Coded. Jake nodded. He stored the envelope under the bar. So really, how you been, kid? And who's this? Jake tilted his head at Orion. Fine. Just finished a job. I was on my way home, but I think we're swinging by Ricky's first. His name is Orion. Like the stars? Apparently so. Where'd you find him? It's complicated. We're going to see Trav. Smart. Jake nodded. All right, young'un. He squinted at Orion. Tell me something good. I have learned cash is untraceable along with prepaid cell phones. Jake laughed. Tell me something about yourself. Oh. Orion looked at Ajax, chewing his bottom lip. He combed curly locks of hair behind his ear. I don't know. You got any talents? I am good with numbers and computers. Ajax licked his lips, turning back to the bar. Leah delivered Ajax another beer, scooping up his empty glass. Yeah? Jake scratched his beard. What else? When I was in high school, my mother insisted on transferring me to the STEM-specific private institution. One of the first projects we had was to design a computer application. And how'd you do with it? I passed, of course. Nimble fingers thumbed the hanging zippers on his bag. Huh. I think you're going to be a good young'un to have around. We'll see after you're good and trained, though. Jake looked at Ajax. You training him? Yeah, I think I might keep him. He put a gun together this morning. No instruction. Jake scratched his beard again, looking down his nose at Orion, critiquing him with kind hazel eyes. Well, if you think he's a good student, then I'm here to help. Got your room set up for you too. But I'm guessing you're going to see Mila, eh? She's been asking about you. Mila? Orion frowned. It's nothing. Ajax muttered. Weren't you going up to bed anyway? Yes, but I was hoping you were coming too. No, I have some things to take care of first. Mila? Jake snorted. She'll be round. I think she's working at the gas station in town. Should be off in an hour or so. You need your rest from traveling all day, Orion insisted, touching Ajax's shoulder. I'm fine. Well, at least show me where the room is. Jake glanced between the pair, a slow smile growing on his face. He fit his baseball cap back on his balding head. Dinner's on the house, and y'all come down for breakfast whenever you're ready. We'll make your favorite. Yeah, thanks. Ajax's lips twitched in a smile. Thank you. Jake tousled Ajax's dark curls. Real good to see ya. He picked up their dinner plates, carrying them around the long bar and disappearing into the kitchen with them. Well, come on. Ajax downed the second beer and stood, dropping 5 $1 bills next to his pint glass. Who's Mila? A girl, he grunted. Do you sleep with her? Maybe. Do you want to tonight? Maybe. Why? Ajax led Orion through the diagonal tables to a hidden staircase in the far corner of the room. I don't know. I'm asking. Orion's cheeks burned as he skipped around the tables, hanging close to Ajax's side until they ascended the staircase. He followed the larger man down the hall and into a quaint little room. Ajax tossed his backpack on the bed and unloaded his weapons on the little wooden dresser occupying the wall next to the door. He dumped his keys next to several blades and his small pistol. You don't want me to? You can do whatever you want, of course. Orion set his bag on the wooden dresser as well, slipping out of his boots and curling his toes into the round rug covering the scuffed hardwood floor. No one's going to come get you in here. You don't need me to protect you. I know this. Orion walked on his toes to the full-size bed in the center of the room, sitting on the edge. Then what? Nothing. When you're alone, what do you do? Jack off and clean my weapons. Ajax kicked off his boots. Of course. I want to buy some books to read. Or maybe a computer. I could work on more coding and hacking. Those things would help you, right? Yeah, I guess. Hacking can make jobs easier. Like hacking security cameras. I could learn how to hack. Orion stretched out across the bed, fingers pressing into the old wood of the headboard. He rolled onto his side and then onto his belly, crossing his legs at his ankles and bending his knees. His feet floated over his back. Can we get me a computer tomorrow? We'll see. What is the plan for tomorrow? 2 days up to a convenience store where we'll get the money transfer from your father. And then we meet Trav for your identification package. Do you have a real home? Or are we always going to stay in hotels? I have a home. And we'll get there after we see Ricky. When we get to my home, your official training starts. Should I be excited? Probably not. Ajax stepped out of his jeans and climbed into the bed beside Orion, crossing his arms behind his head. "Okay," Orion whispered. Will you hold me? Like as we sleep?" "Why?" Orion shrugged. "Because I'm cold." He turned to his side and wiggled closer to Ajax, resting his head on the other man's bicep. "It's not Ajax groaned when Orion curled into his side, releasing his crossed arms and wrapping one around the boy's body. "Yeah, I guess this is fine. I miss my family is all. At least when I was married to Nikolai, I could talk to them sometimes. Now I'll never see them again. I can't take you back. Your father wanted you dead." I know. Orion sighed, burying his face in the crook of Ajax's arm and pressing his lean body into the man's side. He brushed his long legs against Ajax's muscular thighs. "Yeah." Ajax squinted. He fumbled with the rough comforter and faded sheets until he had them both covered. Only the peak of Orion's blonde hair was visible. "Thank you." "No problem." Ajax stroked Orion's back, thumb rubbing over the curves of his body as they lay there. Orion went to sleep quickly, leaving Ajax wide awake and staring at the ceiling. He closed his eyes and counted up to 556 before he lost count and started over again. He worked up to the 300s as his breath slowed down and exhaustion crept into his bones. The boy cuddled deeper into Ajax's side, head resting on his chest and an arm draped over him in a loose hug. One leg wrapped around Ajax's, securing the front of Orion's hips to the virile slope of the other man's. Orion's shorts tightened as the first of many nightly erections pressed into Ajax's side. Ajax whimpered, stroking Orion's bare thigh. His hips squirmed, ass mashing into the soft bed as he arched up. His excitement brushed against Orion's leg, and he heard a knock at the door. He froze, heart hammering in his chest. There was a second knock. "See coming," Ajax whispered, slithering out of bed and sticking his legs back in his pants. He stuck his arousal down the right leg of his jeans and creaked the door open. "Oh, hi." Mila glanced up at Ajax through long dark eyelashes. Her blue eyes sparkled. Her sunset-colored hair pooled on her shoulders, sliding down her back as she canted her head. "Hello." Ajax's voice hardened, and he glanced back to the bed. "I thought you were meeting me tonight." "Jake said you were visiting," Mila's sweet voice cooed. "Yeah. I got caught up with something." Mila traced a hand down Ajax's broad chest. "Are you free now?" "Yeah. My room across the hall." "Go wait for me." "I'll be there in a minute." Okay, sexy daddy." Mila poked her fingers past the waistband of Ajax's jeans before waving and sauntering down the hall, hips swaying with each step. Ajax rolled his eyes and clenched his jaws as she stepped inside her room, folding his arms across his chest. Chewing his bottom lip, he glanced at Orion, who had curled the comforter around his body in a soft cocoon. Ajax retrieved an old pad of paper and a worn-down pencil nub from the dresser. He scrawled a note for Orion, placing it on the bedside table and weighing it down with a black prepaid cell phone. He stuck his feet in his boots and tramped down the hall, excitement building with every step. He creaked open Mila's bedroom door and found her sitting on her calves on the floor in front of the bed. She was stark naked with her chest pushed out and her pierced nipples standing at attention. "Is this how you wanted me to wait?" She tossed all her hair to one side, exposing the slender column of her neck. Her long hair tickled her brown nipples, and her hands rested on her thighs. "Sure. Come here," Ajax groused, leaning against the bedroom door and opening his jeans. He pushed them down his thighs, shoved his briefs to the side, and stroked his thick cock as Mila crawled across the floor to him. Giggling, Mila tongued the underside of his cock, blue eyes flicking up to Ajax's face. "Can I suck your cock?" she purred. Ajax's cock twitched. The muscles in his thighs jumped. "No. I'm going to fuck your face," he growled. He gripped her hair in his fist and shoved himself past her open lips. The next morning, Orion woke with a jolt as the sunlight leaked into the window and warmed his bare toes. He fought his way out of the sheets, wild golden locks kissing his cheeks and ears. After a quick glance around for Ajax, Orion collapsed into the bed again. Ah! He pulled the sheets over his crotch as he studied the room, noticing Ajax's note when his eyes landed on the side table. He wrenched it from under the cell phone. "When you wake up, go downstairs and have breakfast. Jake'll serve you," the note read. Ajax signed it with his name. Orion folded the note and tossed it aside, burrowing in the sheets again. He fell asleep for another hour and dragged himself out of bed once the sun fully illuminated the room. He showered and dressed in fresh clothes, draping one of Ajax's faded black shirts over his head and a pair of his own pants on. He tucked the skinny legs of his jeans into his boots and knotted the corner of Ajax's shirt, showing a peak of bronze skin. He packed their bags before strolling down the staircase into the bar, stopping at the last step. Orion rocked back and forth on his heels, shoving his hands in his pockets. His shoulders kissed his ears. The bar looked bigger, empty. The chairs were upside down on the tables, and the only other person in the room was Jake. He swiped a frayed towel over the bar surface. "Mornin', youngin'," Jake called, beckoning Orion over to the bar. "Cereal and milk?" "What?" Orion knit his eyebrows as he inched over to the bar. "Whatcha want to eat?" "Oh, I'm not hungry." Orion withered in front of Jake. "All right. I'm not usually hungry in the morning." "No problem. How'd you sleep?" "Well, thank you." Orion wet his lips, looking down the length of the bar. I can help you clean if you would like." "Sure, kid." Jake stashed several polished glasses on the shelf. "Grab a broom and sweep the room. Then take the chairs down and clean the tables." "Okay." Orion poked around the back of the bar until he discovered the broom and dustpan. He swept under the tables, under the stretched bar counter, around the stairs, and in the bathrooms. He brushed 4 piles of dust into the dustpan and dumped it into the wastebasket. Orion arranged the chairs around the tables, and he wiped both the tables and chairs with a worn washcloth and a lemon vinegar cleaning mixture. When he finished, he returned the cleaning supplies to the back of the bar and sat down at the bar. "Looks good." Jake nodded. "Hungry now?" "Yes, please." Jake squinted at Orion, tucking his own wash rag in his apron pouch. "Come on. Come in here and help me make pancakes, eggs, and bacon." "Oh. Okay, sure." He followed Jake into the kitchen. "You made breakfast before?" "Why, yes." Yes. I've made breakfast before, but never in an industrial kitchen." "Yeah? It's about the same. You'll put everything on this hot plate. It'll get done quick. I'll make the pancakes if you'll do the eggs and bacon." "Yes." Orion squirmed, dancing around Jake as he grabbed eggs and bacon. "How many pieces?" "Cook up the whole pack. If we don't eat 'em, Cicely and Jax will." "Okay." Orion draped the wet bacon on the griddle plate in neat rows. How long have you known Ajax?" "Since he came up no higher than my waist and wouldn't say more than 2 words at a time. He was a shy kid. Hid behind D all the time." "D? Oh, I guess you'd call him a father." D found the kid in a dumpster crying. Wasn't but a day old. D. The bacon sizzled. "Yeah, D. He died on a job 'bout 5 years ago now. Jax was barely a man. He kinda went wild when D died. Got in some trouble with some other guys. Got into some drugs." Jake shook flour into a bowl and added the other dry ingredients. "Oh, I'm glad he's okay now." "Yeah. Me too, kid." Orion chewed his bottom lip as he flipped the bacon and cracked eggs over a smaller bowl, whisking them before pouring them on the griddle next to the bacon. "He saved me." "From?" "I was his last job. He was supposed to kill my husband and me. He killed my husband, but—" Orion's words cut off and he shuddered, salty tears brimming his bottom eyelids. "I guess it wasn't your time to go then." Jake smirked, pouring buttermilk, melted butter, and 2 more whisked eggs into his pancake batter. Strong arms whipped the batter until it was light and fluffy. What you think about him? He scared me at first, Orion admitted, because I didn't know what to expect. But he's been nicer to me than anyone has been in a very long time. He's a good guy. A little rough around the edges, but if you're his family, he's ride or die. Ride or die. Jake chuckled. He's loyal no matter what. You want to rob a bank? He'll be right there with you, even if it's a stupid idea. Oh, I see. And how do I know if I'm family? Jake chuckled again, dropping small bits of the creamy batter on the flat-top cooking surface. Your family. What else you want to know about him? I don't know. How was he as a child? Shy. Quiet. Kept to himself mostly, even though there were other kids around. I can see it. Orion smiled. Jake snapped his fingers. He had a best friend, Chris. Them two could have been twins if you weren't paying attention. Looked just alike except all the little girls loved Chris' sense of humor. Did he date girls? Not so much? Kind of hard to date when you're driving cross-country to murder someone, ain't it? I guess, but what about his needs? What needs? Boy, I don't know how Jax gets his rocks off. Jake scratched the back of his head, stacking nicely brown pancakes. Stop thinking about what he does with his dick and finish those eggs. Orion's cheeks burned, and he stumbled over his words. All right. Of course. He folded the eggs and diced them with the side of the spatula, removing them and the bacon from the griddle. You ain't gotta worry about him trying to take advantage of you. Jake plated the food, scooping eggs on one corner of the plate, long strips of bacon on another, and piled high pancakes completed the triangled meal. I wasn't. Good. Here. Jake handed him a plate. There's honey and syrup behind the bar. Take what you need. Tea, thanks? Cheeks and ears still blazing, Orion ducked out of the kitchen and sat down at the bar, occupying the same seat from the night before. He rooted around for condiments, setting a sticky bottle of honey and several packets of salt beside his plate. The boy peered at his food, reorganizing it on his plate and making room for a large dollop of honey. He sliced the pancakes in half and in half a second time, and he dipped the fluffy bites in the honey, soaking only the edges. What the hell? You grow up in etiquette classes or something? Jake emerged from the kitchen with his own plate piled high with food. He stood across from Orion, picking at his food as he pulled paperwork from under the bar. Why, yes. Orion set his fork down and rested his hands in his lap as he glanced at Jake. Oh, I was joking, but all right. Jake folded a pancake and dipped it in a bowl of syrup, biting the end and dipping it a second time. He thumbed through the stack of papers, stopping at the packet Ajax delivered last night. Orion tipped his chin up, green eyes scanning over the jumble of letters. It's coded. Yep. How else you supposed to keep information private? I never thought about it. Jake slid the papers to Orion. You want to take a crack at figuring out the code? Why, yes. Sure. Can I have an extra sheet of paper for scratch? Scratch? For testing combinations. Oh, yeah, sure. Jake found an old notebook and a pencil from behind the bar. You want a hint? No. Not yet. I want to try for a while on my own first. Orion ate and played with the encrypted note as Jake went back to his own work, a grin on his face. After 10 minutes, the boy had 3 letters possibly decoded. E, A, and T. With those deciphered, he formulated a mathematical equation for the others. At 30 minutes in, he was transcribing the note on a fresh sheet of paper. Jake was making his own records, adding and subtracting large numbers in red and black ink. His pudgy fingers tapped on a calculator, and he scribbled a number in red with a sigh. He tapped the calculator again, and scribbled a number in black on the same line. Jake? A smoky voice rumbled, and a man dropped a heavy pistol on the bar next to Orion's hand. His own greasy fingers yanked smudged bills from the pocket of his jeans and flung them next to his weapon. Get me a beer. This early in the morning, Brody? Never too early for beer. His voice sent chills up and down the boy's spine. Orion shrank in his seat as Jake replaced Brody's crumpled bills with a chilled bottle of beer, shuffling his papers out of the way. Hold up. What's this? Brody planted his bottle in the center of Orion's papers, condensation soaking into the fibers and smearing the letters. The news, kid, Jake replied, collecting Orion's empty plate. You can look at it when he's done. He's deciphering it. I know. Let him be. Fine. Brody sat down in the seat next to Orion, twisting his body towards the smaller man and sipping his beer again. Orion's eyes looked everywhere but Brody. His hands recoiled from the counter and burrowed between his thighs, hiding their trembles. Look at me, the other man commanded. Jake clucked his tongue. Orion shivered. Of course, he whispered, turning his head to Brody. His eyes followed last, and he reluctantly met Brody's dark eyes with his pale green ones. Better. Brody's coal-black eyes danced with amusement. Spurred on by Orion's nerves, he snatched Orion's notes from the table and reviewed them. How'd you crack our alphabet? Well, the three most common letters in the alphabet are E, A, and T, respectively. I searched for the most common letter in the document. Then the second, then the third. Brody's eyes narrowed. After I had those three, I started looking for patterns. It is a truly rather simple code, if you know what you're looking for. Brody's fist clenched, wrinkling the papers. He balled it up and tossed it in the wastebasket. You think you're smart, huh? Well, no. You look familiar. Brody gulped his beer. I've never been here before. Brody, a high-pitched voice squealed. The voice started far away but advanced on them quickly, accompanied by a slender woman with sunset-colored hair and dancing blue eyes. She roped her arms around Brody's neck, pressing her lips into his smooth cheek. Hi, cutie. Mila, Brody rumbled. Fancy seeing you here. Mornin', Mila. Jake waved. Hi. Orion leaned back in his chair, giving Mila and Brody space. Hi. She giggled, still clinging to Brody's neck. You run into Jax last night? Jake nibbled a piece of bacon. Aha. He should be down in a minute. He said he wanted to check something, I don't know. She shrugged, and she turned to Orion, rubbing her cheek on Brody's broad shoulder. Who are you? My name is Orion. I am here with Ajax. Oh. He didn't tell me he brought a friend. It could have been a three-way, if I had known. Or even a four-way. Brody, when did you get here? This morning, love. He kissed Mila's forehead. But I'm not staying long. I have a job a few towns over. The charming woman pouted, fine. She smiled at Orion. I'm Mila. I'm a friend of Ajax's. It's nice to meet you. I could make you breakfast, if you'd like. Orion glanced between Brody and Mila, lifting his bottom from his seat. No. Ajax clumped down the staircase, boots falling heavy on the old wood. He was dressed with his backpack on his shoulders and a surly frown on his face. Mornin', Jax. Jake grinned. Ajax? Brody's dark eyes met Ajax's. Mila shuffled out of the way as Ajax walked up to Brody. Brody, he growled, you're in my seat. A sliver of space and a valley of simmering animosity separated the two men. Ajax radiated with it, and Brody squared his shoulders. His chin lifted. His eyes narrowed to slits, and he looked down the length of his nose at Ajax, who had hooked his thumbs in his belt loops. I didn't know seats could be claimed. Ajax exhaled in a snarl, pursing his lips together. Ajax, you can sit here. Orion motioned to the seat on the other side of his stool. You should listen to your boy, Brody snickered. He's trying to keep you safe. You ain't beat me in a fight in your life. Don't show off because a pretty girl's hanging on your neck. Mila flicked her eyes up to Ajax. Her cheeks warmed and redness traveled down her exposed neck. Whatever, Brody snatched up his gun and beer, moving one seat down. You play too much? He turned his attention to Mila, sliding her into his lap and offering her a sip of his drink. Jake ignored the exchange, stepping down the bar. Yep, Ajax watched Brody until the man looked away from him, then he turned to Orion. His eyes darted over Orion's trembling form. You all right? Why, yes. I made breakfast with Jake, and I was working on deciphering your secret code, Orion whispered, shifting closer to Ajax. How far did you get? I worked out the most common 3 letters in the alphabet, and I cracked the mathematical formula. Yeah? Orion nodded. Did Jake help you? No. Orion scowled, swatting Ajax's shoulder. I did it on my own, but then Brody threw the work away. Ajax twitched. His features hardened, and another rumble rattled his chest. Don't worry about it. It was a fun challenge, but I can go back to it later. You will. You'll need to learn the code like a second language. I thought you weren't going to teach me your secret assassin code language. I changed my mind. Orion nodded. Okay, why? Because I felt like it. Anything else? No. Good. I'll get some breakfast, and then we can get back on the road. Ajax moved around the bar towards the kitchen. There's already some pancakes, bacon, and eggs in there left from what we ate earlier. Jake tipped his head to the kitchen as Ajax passed him. Thanks. Orion hopped out of his seat, setting the coded notes beside Jake and racing after Ajax, bumping into him from behind. Ajax paused. What are you doing? One eyebrow split his forehead in half. Sorry. I was going to maybe get more food. Orion peered up at Ajax, white irises cradling innocent eyes. You want to be in here with me? Why, yes. If I can be. Yeah. It's fine. Ajax dropped his bag at the door of the kitchen, moving around the room with instinctive grace. Ajax had a new round of whipped eggs and sizzling bacon on the griddle before Orion had set his bag next to the other man's. So, Orion started. So what? So why you spent the night with Mila? Yeah. Ajax placed a pot of water on the stovetop, lighting the eye. I was hoping you'd spend the night with me. Orion laced his fingers together behind his back, pushing out his lean chest. I know you were. Why didn't you? Because I wanted to have sex. Orion's cheeks flamed at Ajax's casual answer. Why you had sex? Yep. She's a whore. What else are you supposed to do with her? Read the newspaper. You shouldn't. I shouldn't what? Call women whores because they have sex. Orion covered his mouth. She calls herself one, and she likes when I call her one too. Oh well. Then it's different. Is it? Ajax glanced through the stainless steel kitchen shelving at Orion. When his hard gaze landed on Orion, his color deepened from a baby pink to a tomato red. Why yes. Ajax poured white grits into boiling water. Did you have fun? It was fine. Why do you ask? Orion shrugged. I'm curious, I guess. I fucked her face and came down her throat. I slapped her face when she didn't swallow it all, and punished her by fucking her and making her beg me to let her come. Oh. Orion looked away from Ajax as shivers worked through his whole body, strumming his nerve endings and making his legs weak. He gripped the wall for purchase as his eyes traveled around the room. I didn't let her. After the third time she got close, I made her get on her knees. She licked my boots clean. Stop? I don't want to hear any more. Goosebumps rose on Orion's thin arms. All right. Ajax smirked, transferring the cooked grits to a large bowl with the eggs and bacon. He broke the bacon into pieces and mixed the 3 ingredients together like a breakfast stew. The plan for today is to get the money from your father. I already called him and set up the location. It's about 6 hours from here. Then, we've got a hotel about 5 hours away from the place we're getting the money from. Okay. When are we getting my new identity package? Next. Waiting on a call. Until then, we'll drive around and stay in different places. Could we go camping? No. Ajax ate his food. I have a question. Okay. Orion bit the inside of his cheek and watched Ajax for a few long moments before wetting his lips. What should I do if I want to have sex? Brody was kind of sexy. Ajax paused, swallowing his bite of food. His Adam's apple danced in his throat as he turned a gelid stare to Orion. Unblinking. Orion shrugged. We all have needs, right? Not Brody? But the next time we're at a place like this with other persons for hire, I could spend the night with someone else. I'll think about it. What is there for you to think about? It's my body, my needs, and my decision, isn't it? It's dangerous. How? Because of who you are. You're supposed to be dead, and if someone finds out I didn't do my job, we'll both be dead. Is it worth risking both of our lives to get your rocks off? I'm supposed to just be horny then. And you can do what you want. When you say it like that, yes. Exactly. I don't think you're being fair. Ajax went back to eating. If I can't have sex, I don't think you should either. Luckily, you don't make the rules. It wasn't a rule, it was a suggestion. Then consider it placed in the suggestion box, and I'll think about changing my answer. If you're so concerned about something happening, make it a three-way and you can watch. No. It would give us both what we want. No. Don't bring it up again. Fine. Orion folded his arms across his chest, slouching down to the floor beside their bags. Now what? Nothing. Let me know when you're ready. Orion listened to the sounds of Ajax eating, the fork clanking the bowl, and the muffled noises of his chewing, until Ajax took his final bites and dumped the bowl and utensil in the industrial-sized sink. Let's go. Okay. Orion threw his bag over his shoulders and followed Ajax out of the kitchen. He stayed behind the other man as they walked from behind the bar, around Jake serving drinks to unfamiliar faces. The older man slapped Ajax on the back and squeezed Orion's shoulder. You two take care of each other. Why here? Yeah, Ajax rumbled. I'll see you around. Call if you need me for anything. It was nice meeting you, Orion murmured, a shy smile touching his face. It was nice meeting you too, young'un. Jake mirrored Orion's smile, walking them to the exit and observing them as they packed their things and climbed into the vehicle. Jake hung in the doorway until the car revved to life, and Ajax merged back onto the highway.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the story so far. If you are, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to listen to more.